G'day punters, welcome back to the MacBet post-op analysis video. Joining me as always is pro punter John Mcleod and Tommy Henjak. Boys, it's been a really big week for us. We've announced our results for the year and a bit of an announcement about Magic Millions. How are we feeling about that?
It's been good. It's been a fantastic year. We started off like a bomb and then we hit a bit of a flat spot, and then we kept on sort of just improving our position, which has been really good. So happy with the year, and we're building into the Magic Millions, and Scoot's got something running down there, so it'll be interesting how we go.
Yeah, we didn't. I know we had a really good year, but we didn't really have long to kind of reflect on it. It was straight into it again, starting the new year there on Saturday. Luckily, we went all right and we got off to a good start.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just recapping for the year, we've had the extensive tweet out on our Twitter there, but for the year we ended up 13% in front. We won 323 units. The yard was a success. We started recording that midway through the year at BSP. When did we kick that off? That was September. So yeah, that's been really good, winning at 17%. December was actually enormous, winning 50 units, 34%. Yeah, just overall really great year for everyone, and yeah, enormous week for us with the announcement that we'll be back on the little birdie live stream for Magic Millions. A few different faces this time. We've lost DK unfortunately, but yeah, John, you'll be there. Brad Mcleod will be there. Tommy Henjak gets up in the hot seat there, and John Walter from Racing Watch out of jail, he's back too. So plenty to be excited about there, boys.
Hula hoop girl.
Yep.
Is the hula hoop girl? The hula hoop girl.
The hula hoop girl.
Is she coming?
We've invited her. She was a close contact from her Noosa party that she went to at New Year's, but hopefully she's out of home quarantine by then. But yeah, look, I might text her again. She didn't reply to my last one.
They just don't get that mate of yours to go out there and try to hit on.
That was a disaster, and the boys won't be there this year after Pat was early crowing one and cheering against the stream. So we might have to pull the vision up for when we actually do the stream. But yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. But yeah, how are we feeling? We sort of just worse than chopped out last year. I didn't think it was a bad losing result, but you know, a bit of a grinding sort of day. John, how do you see this year? And afterwards, Tom, are you excited to be in the seat?
I think we handled the last stream pretty good, because it was a real wet track, and there was a couple of shorties there that, you know, I did think would be hard to beat, but they got into a price where we had to dodge and weave, and you know, we're probably going to have to throw a few little grenades at longer priced horses, you know, over that period. You know, the track I think is going to be pretty wet again, you know, by the sound of what the weather is like heading into it, especially into this weekend, and it'll probably stay around. You know, it seems like we have storms and all that sort of stuff at this time of year. So I expect it to be wet, and we're just going to have to play it, you know, just look for the right horses, the right types.
Yeah, so what have we got? I've got meetings at the Gold Coast that day. We've got a metro meeting at Doomben, and then we've got a country meeting out of Warwick. So my guessing, we'll probably throw in a few grenades at those meetings. And then Walt will be handling Kembla and Rose Hill, I'm thinking, down in New South Wales. So should be pretty exciting. It's not my first stream. Obviously, I had a crack with the racing show boys back in the day. And
oh, I've forgotten about that. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I tuned out.
Yeah, no, well,
you got March from the course, didn't you?
Yeah, we got March from the course because we weren't allowed to do any type of filming or audio there, and then we blew a lot of money. But because we went for the absolute jugular with Animo, who got, I think we had a massive bet to win $500,000 or something at $14, and he ended up coming second in the Blue Diamond. And as you know, he was the King 3-year-old of the season last year. But yeah, very excited. Can't wait for next Saturday, to be honest. It's going to be a ripper.
Too good. Yeah, that's going to be great. It's always a great time of year, Magic Millions, and seeing everyone in there, and the racing community down on the Gold Coast is a lot of fun as well. let's jump into the questions from this week. We'll just start with Chris Tate's question here. He wanted to know you guys' thoughts on the run of Soaring Ambition from Saturday.
Tom, you want to go?
Oh, this was John's race where we actually did we have a saver on Soaring Ambition?
We did.
I think we did. Yeah. We were happy to take on, who were the favourites? We were happy to take on Better Go Lightly, Northern Express. I think we had 1 unit on Golden Artie and 1 unit on, who was the other one? Soaring Ambition. I thought the run was fair. There wasn't too much merit to it. I think he settled 3 back on the fence, kind of hasn't really passed a horse. Had to kind of come around the leader who went out really fast and kind of whacked away there. I think if there was a runner to take out of the race, it definitely have to be Golden Artie for me.
Yeah, it's a bit strange just watching these 2-year-olds come up from Sydney. There was one last week, the favourite for the millions, and then this one. They're nothing much to look at. But, we really haven't got a real strong 2-year-old either. So I'm not sure whether there is other 2-year-olds that could even race on the weekend down there at this meeting that, they do back up into the Magic Millions. They race one week out and then they go straight in there. So I wouldn't be ruling out something that starts this weekend that forces itself into the millions, or it actually forces itself, into everyone's eyesight to say, okay, well, you're the one that's going to stand up. This weekend is going to be pretty interesting, I think, as far as the 2-year-old Magic Millions goes.
Okay, and yeah, the other question here from Chris Tate was Kisakano. He wanted to know your thoughts on the run there. The Fuel Gougers also commented, yeah, Cassidy missed the kick. 3 out of 4 runs on Kisakano this prep, including Saturday. What are the chances? Never got her better than 3 wide. Rides that would have made a Toowoomba 3 kilo claim apprentice blush. Is there any merit to that sort of comment, Tom?
To be honest, I don't really think so. It's a horse who notoriously has had its barrier issues. I think going back to its 2-year-old preparation, it was always hard to load into the barriers. It got scratched a few times. Famously had a very long preparation where I think it had to have 8 or 9 barrier trials at home just to get its barrier manners sorted. So she is a very tricky horse in the barriers. So it's really no surprise for me that she does miss the kick a lot of the time and is slow out. And so, yeah, I don't think you can really blame the jockey there. And I thought the run, although she's kind of run second, they went out really fast there. So she was kind of entitled to run on, saved a lot of ground. I think the horse who you'd probably want to take out from a similar position and run there would be Nudge, who was blocked for a few runs, and there wasn't real much intent shown there in the early part of the race.
All right, now it's time for our weekly segment. What caught Tom's eye around the grounds in Queensland last week? Tom, what have you found for us this week, mate?
Yep, so this was Toowoomba race 8 on Saturday night, about 9:30. I was still up punting. The horse you want to be watching is the purple 3 wide, making its run now, called Runard Rednut, ridden by Monty Sava. As you can see, it starts to lay him pretty badly, and she just allows it to shift in a few lanes, definitely not 1.5 lengths clear, and just completely chops out the horse behind her and Houdini Hudson, who was your $3.20 favourite in the race, ridden by Travis Wolfgram. As you can see, he gets held up for a long time, but then ends up finding clear space up the inside and rocketing home. And as you will see soon, if you fast forward the video, James, this is what you love to see. The good old spray after the race, giving her an absolute gobful for putting, you could say, half the field in a fair bit of trouble at the end of it. Kind of reminisces to me of like when you give your mate a tip and they don't listen and ends up winning. Just give them an absolute gobful after.
Give them the salute.
Who are the 2 jockeys there?
So on the left in the yellow, the eventual winner, you've got Travis Wolfgram. And in the purple, we've got Monty Sava, who's a 2 kilogram claimer. So
big spray.
She's dead set copped it there.
What do you think, Tom? Do you want to see more of this after the races, or do you like the high-fiving when they win? What would you prefer?
No, I definitely prefer this. Definitely prefer this. Bit of entertainment, bit of theatre. Gets the competitive juices flowing.
Something for
that's like Boss and Rod. I think about 3 or 4 months ago when they were up here and they went past the line, and I think Boss gave Rod a little bit of a stir up sort of thing just to say, Yeah, but I don't know whether he's the man or not, but he did give it to him that day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Good for the game, that. Very good. All right, it's time for the post-op analysis of Doomben on New Year's Day from the boys. Before we jump into race one, how do we think the track played, and is it what you sort of expected it to do in the morning?
Possibly. We were expecting it to be away from the fence a little bit, and when the rain comes, you dead set want to be probably that 4 to 7 lane or around there, and that's pretty much what they did after the first race. I think the first race just showed them that the inside part wasn't the place to be, and they got to the right part for the whole day, and it was just only when they started to up the tempo of the races that those horses back in the field, giving them 10 start, were able to get over the top of the leaders. But initially, everything played pretty much what we were thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a very tricky meeting going forward, because there were multiple times throughout the day where it did actually rain through races and actually between races. So the track deteriorated quite quickly. I think you'll probably want to be forgiving of horses that were probably first up. The going was very testing in the end, and possibly horses in the back of the field copping kickback.
Yep, and race one over 1,200 meters. We didn't bet here, but John, this was your race. So I'll let you just talk us through it.
Yeah, Kingston here was heavily backed in this race, and you could see, why he was. We had him short, but we couldn't get him, was short to back him. Like, I think he was around about the even money mark, and so for us, we've got to get into about $1.85 for us to even think about betting. But he's always going to be in the right spot if Bailey pushed and just tucked in behind the leaders.
He was steady in the gates, though.
He was able to. He didn't come out real fast, but he didn't panic either, and he just pushed forward, got into that 4-2 wide position, and then he just he pretty much dominated the race. Second horse tried to run on first ground, but he peaked on his run, and those horses on the inside there were weakening because they're in the worst part of the track. The outside horse, Shamrock Lou, made some sort of ground for a little bit, but then peaked on his run too. He can do that a lot, that horse. So, it was a fairly dominant win. And the sectionals proved that it was a pretty good race as well. If you take Kingston's here out, well, then the rest of the horses are a bit, just average. But he did win by a couple of lengths, and the time was there. So, it was an okay win.
Yeah, you're kind of not surprised in hindsight that the market really came for him, I guess, because you had Parksville resuming off a spell. You had Shamrock Lou, Hakai Maru, they're coming off provincial runs. So was Frederick. I guess the majority of the field were all coming off provincial form, and then you just left with Kingston here, who's a horse that had Metro Cred's last preparation. Frederick the Dane was a big drifter in betting, and you're kind of not surprised in the end. He was coming off a dominant Ipswich win off I think it was a good 2 or a firm 2 track there where it ran track record time. It was always going to be tricky for it coming onto a wet track here with a bit of pressure in the race. Third up, sorry.
All right, jumping into race 2 here. Lady Salerno won this one at $15. Tom, this was your race. Do you want to just talk us through it?
Yeah, so this was over 2,000 meters. This is a field that wouldn't look out of place at Ipswich on Thursday. It wasn't, especially with the rain, it definitely wasn't a race that I was happy to play in, especially over like 2,000 meters. Not really a race I'm ever keen to bet into heavily. Lady Salerno, John actually said in the yard, if there's any horse that you can back in this race, it's probably it, because it is the wet track type and it finds the lead pretty easily. Leads at, I think we've got the race gone 10 lengths slow in front. And when you're in the best part of the track, just controlling in front, it's always going to be hard for those horses back in the field to run you down. When you're fit, deep into your preparation, you're just going to keep kicking on the wet track. Elegant Drover, it's made nice progression this preparation, I guess you could say. Coming off Caloundra and Ipswich form up to 2,000 metres for the first time, 5th up. But in saying that, Boomerang's run 3rd and Brando's run 5th, who's not a wet track type at all. I don't think there's anything really you can take out of the race. These horses will keep going round and round in similar races, and whoever gets conditions to suit will probably win on the day. there's not much between them ability-wise.
Probably one horse there that didn't go too bad. I think that you were tipping, Tom, was that Tribute King. He sort of, just got himself in a little bit of an awkward position going what she did, going out of the straight and had to ease back. And then you can see her out wide and working. And, it came to the line okay down the straight for the first time going over the 2000. And it'll be fitter next time if it draws a gate, in this similar type of race. Preferably go back to the midweeks. It's not hopeless.
Yeah, it was a strange run. You kind of see, if you watch the replay again in the first half of the race, it looks like she's going to land midfield one off, but Byrne actually edges off the fence. And that forces her wide. She actually has to restrain back to the field and ends up 3 wide cast at the back. But yeah, as I said, I don't really think there's much between a lot of these. It'll probably go up big odds next start and it'll probably firm a little, but it'll be an each way play for me only because it has been a costly horse, this preparation.
Okay, dissecting race 3 here at Doomben from Saturday. We had 2 plays in the morning on the tip sheet and platinum sheets. There was 1 unit assigned to Soaring Ambition at $1.75 and a unit on Golden Artie at $9, which was the eventual winner, John.
Yeah, what we were trying to do on the units is just pretty much save on Soaring Ambition and have a little result on, or a good result on Golden Artie. Now, we were on Golden Artie the other day at the Sunshine Coast and just never got a run. And, as far as the type goes for wet, it's not too bad. It's just he does a few little things wrong. Whereas Soaring Ambition, and it pretty much made me happier in the yard that Soaring Ambition, he didn't look any great type. And the horse did run on the best part of the track in Sydney when it won. So it looked a bit better than what it actually was. It went okay here, but, when they got together, Golden Artie and Soaring Ambition, about halfway down the straight, I was a little bit concerned that Soaring Ambition might, just drive through underneath Golden Artie. But, Golden Artie, he fought it off and he hit the line well. And, it's sort of making him, a chance in the Magic Millions, that's for sure. The track's wet down there. He's proven it. He's a very, very fit horse. And, he'll lap up to 1200. As you can see, he just got stronger and stronger as it went on, the race went on. So nice win.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It kind of looked like the wheels were a bit spinning there for a while, but once he really started to flatten out that last 200 meters, he was so strong through the line. Possibly a horse that could improve with blinkers on, but as you can see on type, he's definitely the best in this race going past horses, still very green. And as I said, through the line, he's just so powerful. I think he has to be a big chance in the millions, to be honest, especially getting back to his home track.
All right, moving on to race 4 here. This one was won by Dr. Why Not, and Turbo had 3 bets from the yard. He had a unit on Dr. Why Not, unit on Boom Spender, and a half unit on Turulu. Tom, I'll let you talk us through this one, mate.
Yep. So they've gone out 4 lengths fast here and come home even. So they've ran good time. Boom Spender from the wide gate, stamped urgent, kind of misses the start. So he has to probably do a bit more work than what they'd like. I think he's gone okay in the race. He's probably not as suited on a wet track as he is on a dry track, but he's still gone very good here given the tempo of the race and the work that he's done. The market got this kind of spot on here. There was just a one-way flow of money for Dr. Why Not in the end. I think when we were in the yard, it was probably about $10 and it started about $6, $5.50 on the Corp, $7 BSP. There was some huge indicators here that it was going to run a race. It had a stable change during the week to Lindsay Goff, who's absolutely flying at the moment. The wet form stood off the page. 4 starts for 2 wins, 2 seconds, a big last start run in the worst part of the track at Eagle Farm behind Garibaldi. And it just got the grouse map from barrier 1. He was always going to kind of settle leaders back and just be able to peel out at the right time. The market was really against Simply Fly in the end. I think he was 210 out to 260, 270 at the death. He's just a horse. I know he's got good wet form, but he just always gets back in his races and just does a lot wrong. So he needs luck, and I think that's the last time he'll be starting that short in a race. I didn't really want to put any units on any horses in this race in the morning, because F Troop was originally in the race, so there did look to be a whole lot of speed on paper. But when Golan elected to scratch the horse due to the rain and the track downgrade, it was definitely a race that I was keen to play on, definitely given the price that Simply Fly was. It was an interesting run here by Don't Stop. I think it's nominated for this weekend over 1350 or 1400 down at the Gold Coast. It's now proven that it handles a wet track, and I think it was 60 or 70 days off between runs. And it was only 2 pairs off that hot speed, and it was very powerful through the line. So it's definitely a horse that you want to be following on the quick backup this week, I reckon. We end up having a half unit save on Tooraloo, and that was basically because we thought it was going to be on speed, and it was kind of just naught on the roulette table. But what we didn't realize at 15 minutes before the race, there was a change of tactics that it was going to go back. So it's kind of had a look around here. I think probably a run that had a bit of merit as well was Gontontes. It was first up off a spell. The wheels were kind of spinning there, but it kind of hits the line well with Don't Stop there in the end.
It is an interesting race, this, because we're going to have to go one way or the other as far as sectionals go. Our sectionals are the complete opposite to what punting form data is that we get. So it's a matter of which way we go. One says it's fast run race. The other one, is around about even or just a bit better than fast. So it's going to make a lot of difference on which way we head here, especially with a horse like Simply Fly. I'm saying what Tom's saying is correct, and that you never really want to be on that horse because he just gives away too much start. But if punting form's data's right, it's gone all right, or it's gone good. But if we're right, well, then it pretty much had to run on. And then you've got a horse like Dr. White is in that ground where it wasn't the best, then it still was strong. So the horse is going well. Lindsay's got it going, it's flying. So he's probably only had it a week or so, but the horse looked really good in the yard.
All right, moving on to race 5 here. This one was won by Strange Charm at $3.80, and we didn't have a bet here early or from the yard.
Strange Charm, it was a horse that just was always going to get into the right spot. And, I think I had it shorter in the market, and, because it was a Sydney horse, I'm always umming and ahhing whether we got the figures right or not. And that was the reason why I didn't bet. But in the run, I knew I had made a mistake by not betting. It was, pretty much a wet type, got into the right spot. These horses are pretty average. They're going fairly slow on both of our sectionals. Got about 3.6 slow on ours, and what about 1.9 on punting form, around that mark. So we've got it going a lot slower than punting form. But they're not much good. I wanted to bet around Jetty if I could, but it always looks like that in the yard. Bad Barista is always going to have trouble. At 1350, that's it, 4-2 wide. Even Fleet Dove 1350 on a wet track. That's its outer limit. There's one horse there that didn't go too bad that you could forgive, is Boyles. It was in the middle of the pack there, just getting creamed up. It's back, about 4th the fence in the greeny sort of colours, starting to come to the line under its own steam. Didn't go too bad in Northern Rivers, and it just got hammered here. So it's a forgive run, but really all these horses were pretty much midweek horses. So none of these will really win a town race, I don't think, going forward. The winner didn't go too bad, but you have got horses, like I said, Kedar ran on, he's not really a wet track type, and he still made up a fair bit of ground, the leader. And Fleet Dove was weakening 1350, and Jetty looked bad in the yard as it does, and Bad Barista was the non-1350 metre horse. So, you haven't got too many horses chasing the leader. That was the problem.
Yeah, the market really did come for Fleet Dove late. I think it started $5.80. Strange Charm was a bit of a drifter. I guess Fleet Dove, the move you could kind of say, was coming back from listed grade back to a benchmark 78 here. But on our prices, we were still kind of happy to risk it. I know we didn't play in the race, but we still had it longer than the market. I think that was kind of due to the weight, and John was always kind of happy to take it on over, as he said, 1350 metres. It's kind of always been an outer limit for it. As you can see, during the race, it was absolutely pouring rain. So it was definitely well, I know they haven't gone too hard, but it was definitely a 1350, 1400 meter race. That's for sure.
Moving on to race 6 here at Doomben. This one was won by the Munster runner Smart Meteor, $4.80. No bets from us here. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, so we got another entertaining 2000 meter race here. As you can guess, probably wasn't keen to bet here again. Who finds the lead here? I think it was Navy Cross found the lead with Auto Hoying, and on both sets of sectionals have gone very slow in front. So it is quite remarkable that Smart Meteor has been able to, I wouldn't say round them up because he saves a lot of ground, but be able to run past some of the leaders. I guess that kind of shows that there's not much between the rest of these per se. This is a horse that's come through the grades, his preparation. Where did he start off? He started off in a benchmark 75, then went to a benchmark 80 at Eagle Farm, won that. Kind of stayed at that benchmark 78 last week, and it was just a matter of whether he was going to run the distance or not. We had him about the market. It was just just weren't sure on the distance, but he was on the quick backup. The market did interestingly come for a horse called Phaistos. It was on the quick backup also. It had a high rating, 2000 meter run, 2 starts back. It kind of always mapped to be in that midfield position, which is, you didn't want to be too far off the leaders, I guess. Wapiti, $8, which is what you get. He's kind of plagued by the big weights now, I think. He's kind of found his level. Humboldt Current, I think, was your $3.50 favorite in the morning. He's ended up starting $7.30 on the fair. What was it against for him was the map. He was always going to settle last, and I don't think any kind of horse had come from there throughout the entire meeting. Happy Go Plucky was a horse that I kind of and ahed on having a unit out of the yard because he was the wet track type, but he's just not really hitting the line this preparation. He failed last start at Eagle Farm, and historically he's actually gone okay there at the track. So not sure what to do with him going forward. And to be honest, I'm not sure what to do with a lot of these horses going forward. Perhaps Smart Meteor is the only one you could follow. It was a pretty dominant win, I think, given the sectionals were against. But there's a lot of horses who have gone pretty ordinary here.
Yeah, I think that's the point. A lot of horses have gone bad. But Smart Meteor, I was a bit of a query at the 2000 for it, but I did it, and it's a wet track type. He has ran past the old stages though. That's the only problem. The sectionals are, geez, they're terrible, absolutely terrible here. So, you could possibly, you might be able to back this horse again in a similar type of race. You'd have no hesitancy doing that, but I'd say there's got to be some horses from the south that are coming up here that are, should be better than him.
Yeah, I guess the problem for Smart Meteor going forward as well is when he rises in class, he doesn't have a whole lot of tactical speed, and he just won't be able to give better horses that much of a head start, be able to get past them. Because he drew barrier 1 here and he ends up last on the fence. So that's the big question mark for this horse going forward. And obviously he was aided by being down on the limit here at 54 kilos.
All right, moving on to race 7. This one was won by Tiger Heart, paid $4.80. In the morning, we had a half unit on Release the Beans at $6 and a half unit on Starman, $6.50, and no bets from the yard. John, your race.
Yeah, Starman was scratched halfway through the meeting because of the wet. Release the Beans we thought would improve, and fitness-wise he did, but I thought it sort of went in a negative way, if anything. Just didn't think he looked right at all out of the yard. This race was a real pain. I didn't know enough about Shihonka, or Shihonka or whatever it's called. It was going to possibly hold a forward position, but he got crossed, and she got crossed, I think it is. And she just battled away. That's about all. There was nothing out of the box. Tiger Heart, just a lovely type in the yard. It's just a wet track type. I think these type of tracks will suit her for sure and certain going forward. She's a real wetty, improved a hell of a lot, I really liked this horse a couple of starts ago in town, and then he had to have a break with it, and it didn't go so well. It went to Eagle Farm, and it just didn't handle that track, and then it just stepped up again here. But the only problem is with that I've got is he's ran past or just ran away from horses that were going to struggle at 1350 on a dry track. And when it's at 1350 on a wet, well, these are stopping. Like Dovetail Diva is going to stop Miss Hipster's first time at 1350, and it's running on a little bit. The second horse, well, I didn't know enough about it. Didn't look anything out of the box. And then you've got horses like Release the Beans that have gone backwards in the yard, and Shady Ladies, and it's another one that's been put in the deep end here and just didn't hold up. So it hasn't beaten anything, but the time wasn't too bad. So, and it did win well. It's a wetty, but you just got to put it down to.
Yeah, I actually went a bit AWOL in this race. I ended up back in Tiger Heart. As John said, there was nothing else you could back here. Like Shahonka at the price, I was kind of happy to risk it. Miss Hipster went ordinary when it was well suited. Eagle Farm, I thought. Dovetail Diva was always going to be a big question mark over 1350 and wasn't going to be able to get a solo lead this time. And the main thing here was Release the Beans. I think it had definitely gone backwards in the yard as well. Obviously, in the last review video we did, where, who was it? Mcleod owned the race. Release the Beans was probably a pass mark or a merit run in that race, but I just think it failed to back up here, and it'll be interesting to see where they go next with it. And then the rest were hundreds chance. Tiger Heart's always been a girlfriend of mine. The day we unloaded on it at Doomben, how it got beat by Berry Cart that day, I'll never fucking know, honestly. That was so painful to watch when it went down a nose. But as John said, it's a pretty weak field, I think.
All right, race 8 at Doomben from Saturday. This one was won by Special K at $4.20 after a huge plunge. We had half unit each way in the morning on Soxagon, the $8 mark. And then from the yard, we had a units on Apache Chase.
Yeah, well, I guess it's fair to say that the market has completely owned this race. I think Kementari went up $11 earlier in the week, and it was just expressed into, as you said, I think it was 410 favourite on Betfair and duly saluted. The Sydney forms just absolutely cleared out here as well. Kementari runs first, Kiku runs second, first up, and the rest is kind of just whacking away there. I was happy to have a half unit each way on Soxagon, obviously in the early move and then in the morning, but when the pattern emerged that you kind of wanted to be on pace, I got a little bit nervous. But in saying that, Kementari's come from, second last pair to win in Kiku's midfield, so probably wasn't a huge disadvantage in this race. We ended up having one unit on Apache Chase just because it got out to good odds. There was always a question mark over it, given that it only brought Eagle Farm good track form. So it was always going to get unpriced. I think it was $250 out to $450. And I just think they were fair odds to find out whether you could replicate it. He probably hasn't gone too bad, given the circumstances. They have gone moderate tempo in front, I guess. But I think after this, you can say he probably is better on a dry track. I think the wheels were definitely spinning in the last 200 metres when Byrne asked him for an effort. Nicanova, I don't think there's much you can say there. He's rock hard fit, back in distance in a fast run race. What you see is what you get. Soxagon, in the stewards report, pulled up with an issue. I think Bailey was concerned with his action. He was on the quick backup. Not sure what you kind of do with him going forward. Tambo's mates kind of got exposed here in a fast run race over 1350 metres. I think that puts it to bed that he's definitely more effective over 1200 and 1000.
Yeah, agree. That's pretty much the only thing we got right in this race. That Tambo didn't run the 1350 on a wet, but Soxagon just wasn't walking right in the yard. And it did pull up a bit sore, so that's another thing we might have got right. But apart from that, in this race we sort of we failed.
Yeah,
especially when the market went. The market was just all over it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking before the race, maybe I've got Kementari the map wrong. Maybe he's going to settle further forward, and he settled second pair at the back, which is where I had him, and he's just completely owned him. Definitely something that I have to review and look at there, because I stuffed that one up for sure.
Yeah, looking at the lucky last from Doomben on Saturday, this was won by Salatine, the Golden Train runner. We didn't have a bet here, but John, I'll let you take everyone through the race.
Yeah, this race is completely a race just to forget about. They went 100 mile an hour. They're going about 9 lengths fast on punting form and 10 lengths fast on ours. So, something had to run on. Horse like Miami Fleece didn't go too bad because she worked early and get around there, and then she actually had the audacity to loom up to knock them off, and then peaked. I think she'll improve. She does look all right in the yard. Eloquently looked okay. It was working up on the speed as well, and came to the line okay. I think that horse is going well, and I probably think he'd go better on a drier track, just on type, that's for sure. Nudge, got no idea. That's him out the back. I don't know what he was doing, Rewilla. Just didn't want to compete early, and he had to make a decision to start getting going at some stage. And the fences wasn't the place to be, I didn't think, all day. And it was like, I'll stay back. I won't come out, and I'll rail up. And I think that was just a poor ride. Away from them, Celatine, I thought it looked only ordinary in the yard, only because I thought it would improve a lot. And onto this track, I thought it might have needed the run for sure and certain, and was able to do it. Now, the pace did help it, that's for sure and certain. Kisakano, the horse is going well. Last preparation, it was in and out a lot of the time, and a lot of people thought that it was done. But it is going okay, but he just does too many things wrong. That's the problem with it. But all in all, there's a lot of ifs and buts about this race, but the two horses that you could take out of it were Eloquently and Miami Fleece.
Yeah, I think Eloquently for sure. Not really a wet track type, is she? No. And I thought Chrome's gone okay here. It's kind of resumed first up here with the top weight of 59.5. Obviously, she's being aimed at a race in next Saturday, so she can be a big improver. I guess East Asia, it's kind of had conditions to suit here, but she just continues to make the jump in each kind of grade and class that she goes into.
Okay, that concludes the post-op analysis of the Doomben meeting from New Year's Day, boys. What's your top runner to follow? We'll go one each.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm going to go, because I know that it's probably going to back up this weekend. I'm going to go Don't Stop at 1,400 meters, wherever it goes. Whether it's this weekend or next weekend, I think that it's gone pretty good here.
And I'm going to go Dr. Why Not. I just think that it did a good job. Looks well. Worst part of the track. Horse going forward, jumping now. Going good.
Yeah. So I've chosen the same race. So maybe just black book the entire race and just follow them wherever they go. Boom Spender back onto a dry track. Guntunte's second or third up. There you go.
Hot race. All right. And yeah, there's plenty of racing action this week for us as well. We've got Doomben racing on Wednesday, Sunny Coast Friday night. Tom, I think you said there might have been 2 races on the poly track there, and there's some solid nominations. And then, Saturday, Gold Coast and Ipswich. Gold Coast is the Metro meeting with, I think it's the Wave race day or Aquas race day. And Sunshine Coast, as always, on Sunday, boys. Looks like an okay week.
Yep, juicy. I'll be up there Friday night, Sunny Coast. Not sure what we're doing Saturday, but with the Gold Coast meeting.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll be definitely at Ipswich. It'll be a matter of how many of us are at Ipswich, and it's pretty. It'd be a mess down at the Gold Coast, I think so. I'm going to know whether I go down there or not. I think I might be joining you guys at Ipswich.
Yeah.
Gold Coast sounds like the neglected redheaded stepchild on the weekend, so we'll keep an eye out and see where we end up there. But guys, thanks for everyone for watching. Make sure you send in a question next week if you've got one. Head to macbet.com.au, get yourself a subscription. Boys are absolutely flying, capped off a huge year, and we've actually started 2022 in the green already. So fingers crossed we can continue that, and keep an eye out for Magic Millions while we're doing the live stream. Thanks, boys.
Yep. Thanks, James.
Thanks, boys. Cheers.